Right now, I have done $169,000 in sales and $81,000 in production, which is a huge jump. Uh, I had done the math. I don't have it right in front of me, but I can guesstimate. Prior to starting up Painter's Growth, I had done about 35, maybe $45,000 in sales before Painter's Growth. And let me just say that I would not be here where I am without Painter's Growth.
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. What's up, everybody? Mike Gorhickman here, founder of PainterGrowth.com, and you're listening to a very special episode of the Painter Growth Podcast, a Painter Growth story. And we're here with my friend, client for 4 or 5 months, Elijah, with Pilot Painting, out of West Virginia. What's up, Elijah?
Hey, I'm doing good, Mike. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Stoked to chat with you again. Always love talking to you on the calls and being around your positivity. So thanks for being here.
Oh, I'm stoked. I love talking about business.
Well, let's start at the very beginning. Tell me about your business pre-Painter Growth. What was it like? Day in the life.
So pre-Painter's Growth, I was running two businesses. I originally had a landscaping mowing business that I ran all summer long, and then I had no work in the winter. So I decided to open up a painting company. So I thought, oh, that'll give me a little bit of work in the winter. And then next thing you know, it's making a lot more money and it is more popular, and I can start to see a direction that I'm needing to go. And then I thought, I'm having trouble getting work. I know I need to get more leads. I know I need to create SOPs and to work on a team. And I think I can just pound that out and do it myself. And so that's what I was doing before I met Painter's Growth, is just trying to figure out, you know, brute force how to move the painting company forward, to grow in leads, how to close more estimates, and how to even paint, really, because I hadn't been painting just but 5 or 6 months, in time anyway.
So you're looking, you needed more work. How much of that did you think was just being in West Virginia? Like, did you even think it was possible to get more work?
Yeah, oh yeah, I thought it was definitely possible. I had done the research for my area for painters, and I knew that there was zero online presence. So when I came in, one of the first steps I did was made a website so that I could have an online presence. And so I knew that alone would give me a little foot ahead. And I had called other painters to try to get work so I could learn how to paint, and none of them were willing to hire me, willing to hire anybody. And I could only find 3 or 4. Ironically, you're Canadian, and in one of my Google searches, it gave me a phone number for here in West Virginia. And when I called them, they went to Canada. And they're like, "Where in Canada? Why are you calling us?" I said, "Hey, it's what it says for West Virginia, so I called you." But no one was hiring. And I finally got one painter to answer the phone. He said, "I'm not going to hire you, but I'll take you to dinner." I said, "Okay, sounds good." So he took me out to dinner, and he says, "You can make money at this, but I'm not going to hire you. Just go and paint, learn on the job, and don't charge nothing." I said, "What?" He's like, "Don't charge nothing. I want you to charge well from day one. If that means 18, $20 an hour, day one, I don't want you ruining my market. And I'm going to just show you how to hold a brush and to show you a pattern to roll, and then go make money, dude." I said, "Okay." So we went back to my house afterwards. He brought in a brush and a roller, and I mean, it was 20 minutes, and that's really how it started. Because he told me, he's like, "You can make money." So I knew it was possible, but I really didn't know the way yet.
For sure. So then that's crazy. 20 minutes of training, then starting your business. Love it.
Yeah, yeah.
True entrepreneur there. Um, then you start your business and you get some work, but not as much work as you wanted. What was kind of going through your head at that time?
Well, I was just starting to understand the struggle of the December, January time for painters. And so what's going through my mind is, I need to get work. If we talk about directly the December, January before Painter's Growth, I had just been married, just got married, and I had done estimates and I had people's promises that, oh yes, we'll have you come and do this in January. And so I was like, okay, I just got married 2 months ago. I'm gonna spend 2 weeks with my family. Came back from Christmas and both of them canceled. I had no work for I didn't have any work for the whole winter and newly married. And I was like, what am I going to do? I got a call, had one job, it was $400. Went and did that a day, and I thought, I have got to figure something else out now. So I spent $500 and sent out door to door mailings, just EDDM through the U.S. postal system, and got one job from it. And that was 30 days worth of work. Actually, it was a big job, but that's all that I was doing. I mean, I was just going job to job through the winter. Didn't really have much ahead for interior work in the winter, and was struggling. Couldn't figure out how to make the leads. Really,
Mhm. How did that feel at the time being newly married and not knowing how to get work?
I mean, it was stressful. Obviously, it's definitely stressful. One of the things that I was blessed with is that I was debt free and we had some money saved back, and so I knew I could go about a month and a half without work and would still eat. But I mean, I was stressed out just trying to figure out what to do. I didn't like it that my wife was going to work and I was sitting at home trying to figure out how to make more work. Uh, and yeah, I just didn't know what the next step was. Uh, so I felt stressed would probably be the big one.
How did you come across us?
If I were to guess, it might have been something that Tanner Mullen had said, because I'm a big Drip Jobs fan, a big Drip Jobs fan. And so if your name was mentioned there, that's exactly where it was. Because no lie, I was like, this guy's a scam. Like that's what this is. And so I reached out to Tanner directly and I said, now, Tanner, you've said this, but I need to know, is Painter's Growth actually on the up and up? Am I just going to spend this money and not get anything? He says, oh no, you're good. Go do it. I said, okay. So that's what made me actually submit the request form or however you do that.
Yeah, so you kind of got the green light from Tanner. You watch a couple of my videos, and then you booked a call with my team. What was that? Do you remember what that call was like?
Yeah. So I'll give you a little bit more progression of how that worked. So we're in January when I had no work. I had just got that 30-day job and I knew I had work until February 18th. And I heard of your name and I reached out to Tanner about the end of the month in February, had no work. And like I'm thinking, I don't have work, I don't have money to spend on this, but at least since Tanner says it's okay, I'm gonna reach out. So I reached out and it was pretty simple. I mean, I just submitted my name, phone number, email, a couple other things for you guys to know about where I was at, sub million. And the call was simple. I mean, the guy worked with me so well. I was a hard sell for you. I don't know if you actually know that, because I was really afraid I was going to step into this and get no real support. Like it was just videos, and that was going to be it. So I told the guy on the phone, I said, I don't want to talk to a salesman. I want to talk to a actual coach that you have and hear what they have to say if they think they can actually help me. He says, I don't know if I can do that. And I said, well, I'm not going to move forward unless you do. He said, well, I'll reach out and just see if anyone are willing to. Meanwhile, Zach, which is a champion for you guys, if you want to describe his role, you can. Uh, but he reached out to me and said, hey, yeah, I'll hop on the next phone sales call with you guys just for a few minutes. I have 10 minutes available this day. I said, okay. Hopped on the phone, and oh my goodness, like that is one of the things I learned first and foremost is like you guys are here to help us succeed and to win. Uh, and for him to hop on the phone and for me to realize like immediately that how do I not sound like I'm just puffing you guys up? He's a big shot. I mean, he is like he's a big deal. He hopped on the phone, helped me understand exactly how you guys are going to help, and I could see a future with you guys more than just taking money or whatever. You guys were there to help, and so I signed up that day. Like that was it. I was in.
Yeah, it's actually a great dude. He's a head coach of our advanced 101 program, actually. So you're lucky to get him. He's a smart dude.
Yeah, I think a good way to say it is I recognize that day you guys go the extra mile.
Cool. Appreciate that. I mean, we definitely tried to, and this is not a paid, it's not a paid podcast. Elijah's here with his own, in his own free will.
Oh no, let me say this completely. I really believe in this program. There are in the painting industry, I would say there's two things that I am all about and totally for, and that's drip jobs and painter's growth. I'm not even kidding you. I would not be even close to where I am right now without both of those. So when I get the opportunity to talk about either of them, I'm like, throw the praise, throw the praise.
Awesome, man. We appreciate it, and appreciate yeah, what you've been able to do so far. So I just look back. You joined actually the end of May.
Okay.
So there's a little gap from February, March, April, May. What do you remember what you're doing in that time? Like what was your production and sales kind of like during those spring months?
Yeah, I owned a mowing landscaping company. So as soon as lawns could start to be mowed, which was the end of March for us, I went to do that. And so I didn't paint at all in. I actually looked back at this not that long ago. I didn't paint at all in March or April, and I think I had a little bit in May.
I remember
Yeah,
when you first joined and you were on the calls, you were always out doing lawns. You had your whippersnapper, your weed whacker going pretty much all the time.
yeah. I just counted up. I had 10 weeks where I did no production for painting.
Wow.
Uh, 10 weeks. So. Uh, Yeah, I counted up not that long ago that I had total of 4 full months this year that I did no painting at all. It was landscaping. So that's what would have been in between that time. I really thought I signed up at the end of February, but who knows? But that's what would have happened. I'd have been mowing.
Cool. So we got timestamps. So it was end of May. Too bad you didn't sign up end of February. That would have been better. So you joined. Tell me about what the first 30 days was like. You joined the program. What did you do? What did you experience? What happened in the business?
So this was one of the big things I wanted to talk with the coach about. Because as much as I struggled with leads in the winter for interior work, I was not struggling for leads for exterior work. I already had that stuff booked out in starting in June, maybe end of May. I can't quite remember. I'd have to look at my numbers. So I knew I had exterior work that I had scheduled out that I was going to try to do both mowing full time and painting full time, kind of, and was struggling. But the first 30 days, I knew that I needed help hiring painters, not help with leads, because at that point I was booked through August, I believe. So June, July, August. And so I didn't need more work. I needed help hiring painters. And when I talked to Zach, he says, "Oh yeah, we've got this. We can release the back end of the program for you to help you hire painters, and then you'll work through the front end of the program, which is building leads, uh, closing sales, making better estimates, being more professional, all of that." So the first 30 days was the system and the help becoming more tailored to what I need at my moment. And I hope it doesn't sound confusing because I did need help with leads. I just, by the time we got to that point in the summer, I didn't need help with leads. I needed painters. Um, so that was my first 30 days is talking with you guys. Okay, Elijah, we usually send everybody down this path, leads, growth, employees. But in you need employees and then leads and growth. And so it was pretty well tailored. I felt really supported. We have a Slack group that we're all a part of. And I think I was on that thing every day, posting something. And even now, like I've been in this program for however long, and I check Slack probably 3 or 4 times a day just to read on what people are doing and how to help. So all of it's just extremely supported. Like I recognize that from the start. Anytime I talk to somebody about painter's growth, and all my friends and family know that I'm in here, I say I'm in this international group where it goes, all the way from like South America, I believe, all the way up to Canada. And we get on the phone once a week, and there's a coach, and he talks about, sales or marketing. And then at the end of the week, we have my favorite time of the week, which is time with Mike. He calls it office hours. And a bunch of us just gets on there and we just problem solve. Oh, I'm having a problem here, problem there. And that was my first 30 days of actually feeling like I actually had a community that understood what I was going through, or had already been through it and could help me. So that was my first 30 days, and basically every day since then. So
Yeah. So instead of being alone in your entrepreneurial journey, having like a group of people to turn to and talk to and help problem solve things, how does that compare in terms of feeling, in terms of, you know, being going from being alone to having that type of support community?
It is everything. It's just plain out. It is everything. Whenever you're going at something alone, unsupported, um, unencouraged, it's hard. It's a slog. It's not enjoyable. And even if it is enjoyable, it's not. It doesn't feel right. But for me, I'm a huge people person, and so having a community of painters around me, uh, it for me, it is everything. It really is.
That's awesome. I'm glad that we can be that pillar for you. What happened to your business in the first 30, 60 days?
So sales didn't go up, which is because of how I was structured. I already had work, and my full focus was on hiring painters. So I had gone from using Indeed and asking, hey, $10 an hour. And they would submit a resume. I'd call them and say, hey, you're hired. You want to start Monday, to using your guys's uh, full-fledged multi-step process program where I do a qualification call with them. Well, actually, let me step back. First things first, they submit a resume. They often have to answer the questions, which has been huge. It has weeded out so many people that I would not want to hire just by requiring them to answer an extra two questions. And then I do a qualification call, and which you guys gave me the template for. And if I feel comfortable with them, then I set up an in-person interview. Mike talks all the time about being professional, appearing professional, and again, being professional. So I show up, two interviews, dress professionally. I'm often wearing a name tag, bringing my clipboard, and then I have a printed off document that you guys also provide for hiring that just goes through the mental side of things, the physical side of things, how they deal with problems, how they deal with people. Are you going to show up, to the job site one day and they punch the customer? Like, have they ever done that before? So my first 30 days, that was all it was about. And I had gone through two painters, and I think at the end of those 30 days, maybe it'd been 2 months, whatever, I had hired a painter that's been with me since then, which is nice. His name is Andrew, and it's been great. And I really just flying by the seat of my pants before, hiring off of the first phone call, and now I do not do that. I don't do that at all. So that was my first 30 days.
Very cool. Um, and then how about, so you bring on your first painter? Well, not your first painter, but your first painter who actually sticks around, who's reliable. That's a
Mhm.
good thing.
It's paid.
We're about 6 months in, so I mean, let's just skip forward a little bit. Tell me about your business now.
See, this is what I've been waiting for. I brought up the numbers, so I've done the math. I had just about 4 months that I didn't do any production this year. So that means it's November. You take away four, you're at about 7 months that I've actually produced. Right now, I have done $169,000 in sales, and $81,000 in production, which is a huge jump. I had done the math. I don't have it right in front of me, but I can guesstimate. Prior to starting up Painter's Growth, I had done about 35, maybe $45,000 in sales before Painter's Growth. And let me just say that I would not be here where I am without Painter's Growth. It has given me the tools to be able to close more estimates, to communicate better with customers. And the thing that I'm really bad about is delegating. I am a little bit of a perfectionist, uh, and I just want to do it myself and do it right. But I know I need not to. I need to be able to delegate, trust other people, and teach. This is something that you kicked my butt about not that long ago. I was out on a job with two painters, and I was painting. And I hopped on office hours, stuck it in my back pocket, had an earbud in, and Mike said, "Okay, Elijah, got any question? What's up?" I said, "Oh, I'm just painting, just listening." And you basically said to me, "Why are you painting?" And I said, "Well, because the job's got to get done." He says, "Elijah, you've got two full-time guys you should not be painting. I said, I've got to, like, I've got to train them. And he says, training and painting are different. You can paint, and that's a low income side. I can't remember what you said to me number wise, 20, $40 an hour, $60 an hour. He says, but training somebody is a much higher income side of, because if you're training them to replace you and to train somebody else. And so all this time later, November, where I'm at now is I am rarely ever on the tools. And when I am on the tools, I'm training and I'm teaching and I'm growing. So I am I am in a way different place than I am. It's crazy because I'm planning out my next year. We've done about $150,000 in sales in about 8 months by the end of December. It's my guesstimate. Next year, my sales goal is 500K for just one of our locations. If we have goals for a second location, but just one location, our goal is 500. And to think of that jump, and before I wouldn't have been able to even put together a path to do that, but with your guys' help and with the tools you guys have given me, it gives me a route to do so. To take a step back and to speak to whoever's like me out there. If you're not signed up for Painter's Growth, just listen to what I have to say. I knew I needed systems. I knew I needed leads. I knew I needed people to come around me that were painters that were ahead of me. And one of the big questions I had to myself during the sales call of, do you sign up for Painter's Growth? Do you not? Was, I know I can do this. I can brute force this and it could take me a year, could take me 5 years, could take me 10 years. Or I could join Painter's Growth and jump ahead 5 or 10 years. And I was like, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. And I joined, and it really has been that jump forward. Uh, Mike's talking all the time of, sub million, 500,000, million plus a year painter. I would not be surprised if in 2, maybe 3 years, I'm not million plus very quickly. And I don't think I would be here. I wouldn't be here, uh, at least not that quickly without it. This is your step. This is your choice to be able to jump forward in time because you've got people willing to train you and help.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man. I'm glad that you're getting the value out of it. That you are. How does your wife feel about all this?
um, so it's a 90-day program. I don't know if you've heard Mike's spiel, but it's, if you're not making 30K in sales a month by the end of 90 days, he'll give you your money back plus 1,000, something like that. And I told my wife, and she's like, "You sure this isn't a scam?" And so my wife thought it was a scam. And I said, "I don't think it is. I talked to Tanner and I talked to a coach now. I think I'm going to do it." And she says, 90 days, huh? I said, "Yeah." She's like, "So I'm not going to see you for 90 days?" I said, "I don't think so. I don't think you're going to see me for 90 days." And so that's what my wife thought. She thought she was going to lose her husband for 90 days. And she was fine with it. She's like, "Go make money. You'll be fine." But what she probably thinks now is, man, I'm really glad he did this. Because she didn't see me. She saw me every night. It was my goal to be home and done by 5 or 6 o'clock every night. And I basically did that. So I thought this was going to suck up all of my time, but instead it gave me time. And my wife is very thankful for that. And she talks about you guys a lot. So
That's awesome. Well, you'll have to drag her to the mastermind in April.
there you go. Her
Yeah,
birthday.
perfect. Little birthday trip to Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she'll love that.
So how much are you profiting now per month? I know you're still on the upward trend in your business, but yeah, what are you kind of taking home per month right now? Keeping in mind it is the slow season.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of a difficult question. I'm in a unique place where we have ebb and flowed through 1 and 2 full-time painters. So I've had one full-time painter for a month and a half, and that month we only produced 10 or 11,000. But I didn't do any painting, and we just hired a second painter, and then we went on a 2-week break, and so that 2-week break ends this coming Monday, Monday after Thanksgiving. And I am hoping starting in January to be pulling home about 20K a month without doing any painting. Uh, but it's kind of hard to tell. We're just transitioning from one full-time painter to two really competent full-time painters, which I haven't
Right.
quite for a full month. So
Yeah,
it's a little hard. It's a little hard to answer that one.
that's fair. It's still you're still early on in your process. Probably have another one of these calls in about 6 months from now.
Yeah, yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, other than just like recruiting tactics and sales and marketing tactics, like what would you say you've learned or taken away from the program?
So without sales tactics, marketing tactics, or any of that, uh, it's one that I've already mentioned. And it really is the kick in the butt of Elijah get off the tools. We just did our first really high end cabinet job 2 weeks ago. We use an Italian imported paint. I bought an HVLP sprayer. First time we've ever done a job like this. I had a brand new hire. It was his first day on the job, and he had a lot of HVLP experience prior. And I knew what I wanted, and I had a general idea of how to get it. And so I went in there, and I had him suit up beside me, and I went in and I started spraying just to start to gain on how to do it. And I thought to myself, Mike would kick my butt. I need to be using my new hire to be doing this and me teaching him rather than me just doing the job. And so I handed it over to him and I said, okay, I want you to show me right here on this cardboard how you would do this because you have experience. And he started doing great. I just had a few critiques. To say that the cabinet job went well from beginning one, uh, the cabinet's got a total of 8 coats. So it didn't quite go perfectly, but I didn't have to put on any of those coats. It didn't cost me that much more. Instead, it made me time and it gave my painters experience. Uh, Actually, your last podcast that I just listened to talks about taking care of your time, doing the time audit. And one of it, part of it just goes over how much time you save by training painters rather than doing painting. And day one, I decided, okay, this new guy, I'm just going to train him. I'm not going to paint for him. Uh, I would say by far that is the biggest thing making me money right now is training painters, and something I still struggle to stop doing, stop painting, but getting off the tools. It's the
Yeah.
goal. It's the goal.
Basically, taking control of your time and just not letting yourself be bossed around by customers and doing what you need to do and not what you think you should do.
You know, Mike, a large part of it's financial freedom, and a large part of it is being able to control my business and my time. Uh, I was just driving up the road with my wife. It's a little past Thanksgiving right now, and we have to go to the grocery store for my mother. And I said, I look forward to the day when we have so much financial freedom that I can just go in there and buy all the things we need for my mother, for Thanksgiving, for whatever, and not, you know, exchange cash, like exchange receipts when we get back. I just want to be able to buy it all and take care of it. I can see a path to that now. Before Painter's Growth, I knew I could get there. I'm I'm too stubborn not to. But with doing this, uh, I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the year next year it looks would look very different for me. Very different.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. So
25.
you're still young. You got lots of time. But even though you're young, how important are those years of jumping the queue for you?
Are you talking like monetarily? Like what exactly? Can you clarify your question?
Just what does it mean? Yeah, that's open ended. That's up to you to
Yeah.
define.
When I talked to my wife about the company, she knew she was getting into something that was not her comfort zone. Her comfort zone is not business owning. Her comfort zone is 9 to 5, working for somebody else, letting them put a paycheck in your pocket. Uh, and for me, I knew that I could do that, or I'm willing to take the risk and to try to make the money. But that takes time. I owned a mowing company for 8 years. I really did. 8 years, from 16 to however. I realize now that I think back, I mowed myself all 8 of those years. Last year, I tried hiring a couple people to help me, but it didn't help me make any more money. They just didn't show up. They were slower. They didn't do as good enough job. And I realized I just was not equipped to grow a mowing company like I'd seen other companies do. And so I said, okay, what is the path to that? And when I came to painting, I saw somewhat of the same problem. Like, I know this is doable. I've seen other people do it. How do I do it? And being able to jump forward this far ahead. I mean, even today we were on a call with Mike and the whole gang, and they were asking, "Oh, how do you do door to door sales?" And because of this program, because of the contacts Mike has given me the opportunity to, and some of the nudges he's given me, I was able to drop, "Hey, here's this SOP, standard operating procedure, that I spent 20 hours on you know creating routes for door to door salesmen, like completely online, and I don't have to touch a thing." uh, and that alone is a huge jump ahead for me for lead generation that I just didn't have before. And so it really is. It's worth my time. It's which is a big deal to me. I want to be able to spend more time with my family. So yeah, if I may, I'll say this. I told my wife before we got married that I was really concerned I was going to be a workaholic. And you people that are listening to these podcasts, I know there's a few of you that's workaholic too. And I told my wife, I want to be cautious that I spend every evening with you as much as I can. My goal is to be done by 5. And with my mowing company, I wasn't able to do that. With my painting company, I am. And with the help that I've had, now I'm not the painter that's been out till, I'm not kidding you. I've gotten home at 1 a.m. before painting from painting because I just wanted to get the job done. I'm no longer that guy. I'm home at 5 or earlier, and I'm cooking dinner with my wife and smiling because you know I've made money that day and I didn't wasn't on the tools. So it's worth my time. Absolutely, get your time back. Step ahead.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's maybe interviewing with us right now and assessing their options and just kind of scared to make a decent sized investment in their business? Like who maybe feels like that money's better, better sitting in their bank account or on their credit card than investing in us.
Well, I'm a huge proponent of cash. I love cash. I love no debt. And when it's sitting in your bank account and it's making you feel secure, well, it's only going to make you feel secure for as long as it's there. And you run out of work and then you're dipping into that. All of a sudden, again, you have no money. Uh, but investing money, uh, looks very different in different ways. Of course, you've got the market, but you can invest it in training, and that's exactly what this is. It's not something you just blew your money on. It's not something that you just like, oh my goodness, it's a waste. No, it is an actual investment, and one that you'll have to pour time into and effort. But it's totally worth it. Spend the money. It is worth it. The 30K agreement that I guess he makes with and Mike makes with everybody is so true. I think since I've joined this program, and I never would have guessed this, the highest sales I've had so far in the last 7 months, I think I had a $43,000 month. I think that's been my highest one, and I wasn't even trying that hard, to be honest. I really wasn't. And so, yeah, it's an investment, but it's an investment that's worth it.
That's awesome, man. You are doing this and you're accomplishing all of this in probably one of the toughest markets in the country.
Yeah, West Virginia is I think it's the second or the poorest state in the United States, and we're crushing it. And for all of you guys out there, like, oh my goodness, my market's no good, or people don't make enough money around here. That's not true. It's not true. You can go out there and you can make money. We provide a service, and that's something that I've always had in mind. Like, if people want to paint their walls, they can paint their walls. They have 2 arms. They're able. They can go buy Glidden and they can go buy a roller at Walmart. But you are a service, and so your service should be professional, number one, and should be convenient, number two. And if you have the ability to to make your business those 2 things, professional and convenient, you're going to get sales. And just go out there and do it. And Mike's program shows you how to make those contacts. I am, from what I know of, I think I'm the most expensive painter in my area. And I told Mike today, I said, I got a call yesterday, and from an estimate I went out and did. And to give you a little background, the guy told me at the end of the estimate, I said, okay, you ready to sign and, make your deposit? And he says, no, I'm waiting for one more painter. He's a friend of a friend. I said, okay, well that's fine. So he calls me yesterday and says, you know what, you are so professional. I have no doubt you'll do the best job. So we're just gonna go with you. And he signed on the spot. I had the exact same thing happen the other day. I had a contract I went out to do. It was a $10,000 contract, and he needed a little carpentry work. So for my carpenter, I charge $71 an hour for my carpenter, and it's just one guy. And the guy looked at me. He says, "Wow, well, I've got a friend that can do it for $30 an hour. I'll just have him do it." I said, "Okay, that's fine as long as it's good enough." When we get there, he calls me 2 hours. 2 hours later, he says, "You know what? It'd be so much more convenient if you would just do it. I'll just pay the extra $40 an hour to have it done." And if that does not tell you that people buy on convenience, I don't know what does. So all that to say, if your market sucks, doesn't matter. You can still make money and make really good money. And this program helped me to get to that spot, to be able to not feel bad about the $10,000 bids or the $71 an hour for a single carpenter. It's because I'm providing value, and a lot of that value has been, well, it's been given to me by the program, for sure.
One thing I remember talking to you early on is when you're hiring your painters, you were like, Mike, I can't get any good applicants. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, how much are you offering? And you said something like 16 or 18 bucks an hour, because that's what other painters are offering. Other
It was
painting companies are
13.
offering painters in your area. And then we like pulled out your job costing, looked at your numbers and realized that it's like, wow, you can actually to stay within margin, like you could pay your painters like 27 bucks an hour. And I think you said something like, Mike, if I paid my painters $27 an hour, they'd be the highest paid painters in the state.
Yeah, they really would be. I just talked to another painting company not that long ago, or another painter who applied, and they were offering $10 an hour with no option for raises for 2 years. That gives you the idea of our market where we are. Uh, and my goal is within the next few months, and don't get on to me too much. My goal is next few months to have my at least one of my painters at $22 an hour. That's my goal. Uh, but for him to earn it, uh, and yeah, so currently I really am, even at 18 plus an hour. I am the one of the higher paying painters in the area, or if not the highest.
Yep. Lots of room to grow.
Yeah,
Cool,
lots
man.
of.
Well, thanks for being on and thanks for the kind words. And I know this is still the beginning of your journey and stoked to be a part of it.
Yeah. For those out there that's wanting to do it, guys, just do it. It's worth it. Uh, Whatever it is down now, I have no idea what it is. Uh, I don't care if it's $20,000. It's really worth it because it sets you ahead so much. It's nuts. So thanks for having me on, Mike. And I look forward to seeing you in maybe 6 months when we're doing maybe 40, 70K a month in
Yeah.
in production. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, you'll
So
be there. No doubt in my mind.
okay, thanks, Mike.
Okay. Thanks, Elijah. See you, man. Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.